It's a controversy that just keeps getting bigger.
Controversy that keeps getting bigger. One of their main tactics. Keep on egging it on. As long as they keep on pressing to put a mosque right there, it's not going to go away, of course. The tactic of the media these days is to keep things at a simmering point alongside the tactics of the Obama administration, which under the guise of unity, they are putting up barriers and creating and inciting conflict between all sides, separating us and to goad us and prod us into fighting amongst ourselves. That is the tactic, and he calls it unity. Everybody with him is unity, and everyone outside of that must be marginalized, ignored, and shut up and trampled if necessary.
The man behind the project, Imam Abdul Rauf,
is the man at the center of the storm. The proposed 13-story Islamic center and mosque, his dream project, and now a public relations nightmare. But who is the Imam? Critics have leveled accusations that he's a supporter of militant Islam, that he's radical, even dangerous. Is he? We combed over what's available right now, the speeches, books, and interviews, to see if we could find answers.
Yeah, you guys combed through all kinds of stuff, because you wanted to get us the real down low, nitty-gritty, same way that you did when Obama was running for president. Do all kinds of research. People have a right to know all that happy horseshit. I guess the American public should have been up on things more back 2 years ago. They should have read both of Obama's autobiographies. They should have read both books that he wrote about himself, or somebody wrote. Because a couple of people who have read them told me that, man, it's all there. It's like his Communist Manifesto and the sequel. Thanks, media, for looking out, though. I guess you got all kinds of other books to read, too, so you can't read every book that maybe it would behoove you to read to inform American people. Thank you, Bill O'Reilly. Somebody could have read Obama's books and told us what was in them, couldn't they? Couldn't somebody have read them?
Do only Muslims go to heaven?
The
only Muslims go to heaven?
fundamental thing is you must accept God. You have to believe that there is a creator. The Jews, the Christians, whoever believes in God and does good will be saved.
Why do they hate the Jews so much? Well, it's obvious why they hate the Christians so much, because they think most Christians are Jew ass-kissers, peaceful idiots for the Jews, hypocritical about the whole, peace, turn the other cheek syndrome, nasty sinners, corrupting their people. They're just fine with all that throat slitting and, chopping women's noses off that they do. And all that's okay. It's a very consistent.
Do you believe that a suicide bomber goes to heaven?
Who says we save 72 verses in heaven if they martyr themselves for their faith? This is Papa.
One of the things that we are taught is never to say somebody will go to hell or somebody will go to heaven.
Is this guy wearing eyeliner?
It is up to God to decide.
The Imam has been praised for being a moderate, enlisted by the FBI to help train agents about Islam.
I assume the Imam has a top-level clearance, Obama and everything. Well, I don't know, there's a whole White House full of people that probably have more red flags that would impede obtaining such clearance than I probably have. I've never been accused of being affiliated with any terrorist groups such as Al-Qaeda or communist groups. I've never plotted to overthrow the United States government. Not that any of these people have. I'm not a member of any militia even. Whether any of them would be thought of as homegrown terrorists or any other kind. So do I get a clearance to FBI? Whatever dirt is on this guy, you can bet you the FBI probably knows. seems like maybe they'd be wise to voice their opinion on the mosque. Or are they just going to stay neutral? Well, you know how law enforcement is. Largely, they don't do anything until after something bad happens.
Why don't they find the FBI agents who are Muslim and train the rest of them that way? Shortage of them, perhaps?
And this week is on a state-sponsored speaking tour through the Mideast to try and bridge the gap between Muslims and the West.
Haven't you had quite enough of this mamby-pamby, ambiguous metaphor of bridging the gap? I mean, they bridged the gap. They don't need a bridge. They got in airplanes. They brought to the ground two of the biggest buildings on Earth. Now, at that site, they are establishing a beachhead with this mosque. I think that would be a more accurate depiction of the actual events occurring in real time on the ground. With all due respect, sir.
Jeffrey Goldberg is a national correspondent for the...
Jeffrey Goldberg. Any relation to Bernard Goldberg? Just asking. Jonah Goldberg. Yeah, looks a little bit like him, too. Between,
Lucianne. Or the wrestler that was on Donald Trump's show.
It's not just rhetoric that this man is engaged in. He has actually walked the walk. He goes to churches. He goes to synagogues. He talks about the commonalities. He condemns terrorism. He condemns fundamentalism in all forms, including Islamic fundamentalism. I've seen this.
Still, some don't buy it. They say the Imam is a terrorist sympathizer.
I wouldn't say that the United States deserved what happened, but the United States policies were an accessory to the crime that happened.
His wife came to his defense. In the longer interview, he talked about the CIA's support specifically to Osama bin Laden and the Taliban.
wow, get a load of that name, huh? Daisy. Daisy Khan. She has a lot of room to talk. Just like all the other Muslim women in the Arab world, huh? In Afghanistan and Saudi Arabia and Iran and all the other places they make someone like her put on a black thing in front of her face so you don't even know what she looks like, and she's not allowed to say anything to anybody. She can jump up and down and shout it from the rooftops all she wants over here. Daisy, Daisy. One of the lovely daughters of Genghis Khan. It's probably like a directly phonetic translation because the real name's probably in like that Arabic writing. A lot of Khans are from Pakistan. That's whatever the Pakistanis write. Daisy.
A spokesman for the Imam reiterated, telling us the comments were, quote, taken out of context. He went on to describe the mistakes the CIA made in the 1980s, like financing Osama bin Laden and strengthening the Taliban.
I'm tired of hearing this one, man. Look, you've never had friends or business partners or roommates, that you thought you had a great relationship going and then one day things just didn't work out anymore? Well, that's kind of like the whole deal with the Americans and the Taliban and the Mujahideen and Osama bin Laden, Saddam Hussein and the WMD for that matter. Okay? Relationships go up and down and in and out. If they didn't, then we'd all be with everybody who we were with since the day we were born till the day we died. And nobody would ever go anywhere else and be friends with anybody else or enemies with anybody else. It would be a perfect world, wouldn't it? We'd all be running around naked, trying to get some snake to stop bugging us to eat an apple.
What about claims that the Imam sympathizes with Hamas? Asked if the State Department was correct to designate Hamas as a terrorist organization, critics say he seemed to waver.
I do not want to be placed, neither will I accept to be placed in a position where I am the target of one side or another.
Of course, here's his strategy, see? This is how they make it look like they are the moderates. They will avoid being placed in one side or another, while all the actions that they take makes those whose side they are on understand, yes, he's on our side. They don't say anything about it except to criticize those on the other side who say, yeah, he's on their side. Just by interpreting his actions, I will say that he is on their side. He's on the side of the radicals. And of course the radicals will say, oh, what do you mean? He's a moderate.
Targeting of civilians is wrong.
See, that's how these radicals, they can look like they're right in the middle because they can say something like this that could apply to either side, but we all know whose side he's talking about, because he's already brought up the fact about the Americans and Osama working together in the past. So, being that I haven't heard, at least in this report, him saying anything about, well, it was wrong for the Muslims and these people to do that. No, instead you hear that the Americans helped to bring on the attacks on the World Trade Center, where he seeks to move in, practically across the street.
Opponents have also accused the Imam or his father of having ties to the Muslim Brotherhood, the group believed to be one of the key influences of Hamas. Goldberg calls that ridiculous, pointing out the Imam actually gave a eulogy at the funeral of Daniel Pearl, the journalist killed by Islamic extremists. In his remarks, the Imam identified himself absolutely with the ethical tradition of Judaism.
A Muslim brother would not get up in a synagogue on the Upper West Side of Manhattan and say to an audience filled with Jews, I am a Jew. If you believe that, you'll believe anything.
Yes. What he means, of course, is that just like the Jews, he is a descendant of Abraham. All the Arabs, all the Muslims, and all the Jews believe that they came from Abraham. Brother of another mother, so to speak. Literally. It's disingenuous for Goldberg here to say that no member of the Muslim Brotherhood would say it. I bet you they say it to each other and to their people all the time, considering, Abraham and all.
By the way, did you notice how he referred to the Muslim brothers? A Muslim brother would never say this. Why did he say Muslim brother instead of member of the Muslim Brotherhood? Like I did. I mean, how many Muslim brothers does he know up close and personal?
Critics say the Imam is clearly out of touch.
I don't think he realized the storm of controversy and hatred and
Is this guy an actual mummy?
debate that he would arouse by his action, and that shows a certain disconnect with American society today.
And here we go again with that famous media tactic that's been brought up ever since Barack Obama became the president. Some guy says that he just didn't know what he was getting into. He didn't understand the opposition, that he would face, and the hatred. So if you don't like this guy, the Imam Rauf, and his wife Daisy, you must be full of hatred.
He thought he was doing something to advance the cause of peace and interfaith brotherhood.
Oh, okay, interfaith brotherhood. You're one of them. If you believe that Muslims are into interfaith brotherhood, the kind of thing where Catholics and Protestants and Jews and Muslims all get together and talk about how it's really the same God and all we got to do is live in tolerance and peace and, allow the homosexuals to get married in our churches. Then they finish their breakfast of bacon and scrambled eggs with cheese and go on their merry way, having accomplished so much together. I know you're not some kind of Muslim stooge. He thought he was doing something to advance the cause of peace. You write for Atlantic Monthly, a magazine that is not a crew of naive dreamers.
He's walked into something he's clearly in over his head.
For Nightline, I'm Sharon Alfonsi.
Hey! Hey!